Hello, budding doctors. Welcome back to another video lesson from Good Doctors. I'm Tania Rose Jacob. In this lesson, we are going to be talking about the non-tuberculous mycobacteria. Non-tuberculous mycobacteria or NTM is also known as atypical mycobacteria or mycobacteria other than tubercle bacilli, MOTT, mycobacteria other than tubercle bacilli. This NTM or non-tuberculous mycobacteria is a diverse group of bacteria that can be isolated from birds, mammals, soil, etc. They are opportunistic pathogen, which means they are normal commensal and does not harm the host, but it can cause disease when host resistance is low. It is occasionally isolated with human infection. Man-to-man transmission is not known. How we can differentiate non-tuberculous mycobacterium and saprophytic mycobacterium? Actually, the saprophytic mycobacteria do not cause any disease in human. Since it does not cause any disease, we are not discussing about the saprophytic mycobacteria. Here we are discussing about non-tuberculous mycobacteria. Next, let's see the classification of non-tuberculous mycobacteria or NTM. The NTM can be classified into four groups based on the pigment production and rate of growth. These are Runyon groups because these are classified into four groups by Runyon. So the first one among four is photochromogens. Second one is scotochromogen. Third one is non-photochromogens, and the fourth one is rapid growers. The photochromogens, from the name itself, it is clear that photo means light, chromo means something related to color, right? That means they produce pigment only when the colonies are exposed to light. Photochromogens produce pigments only when the colonies are exposed to light. The pathogens of this group, that is the pathogens of the photochromogens, include the first one is Mycobacterium marinum. From the name itself, it's clear that it is something related to water, right? So the humans are getting this infection is from water sources like fish tanks and while swimming. On exposure to the water sources, this bacteria enter our body through minor trauma. This bacteria grows poorly or not at all at 37 degrees Celsius but grows well at 33 degrees Celsius. Mycobacterium marinum typically causes papules or ulcers known as swimming pool granuloma or fish tank granuloma. You can see the picture over here. You can see the fish tank granuloma, and so it can also cause the tendinitis, means the inflammation of the tendons. It can cause the tender nodules as well, which spread in the sporotrichoid pattern similar to Sporothrix shinkai. And another species of this group, it's about Mycobacterium marinum, and another species of this group is Mycobacterium asiaticum, and it rarely associated with the pulmonary diseases and bursitis. And the third species of this group is Mycobacterium simiae. Third one is Mycobacterium simiae. First one was Mycobacterium marinum. Second one Mycobacterium asiaticum, and the third one Mycobacterium simiae. And this may be get confused with the Mycobacterium simiae, may be get confused with the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The reason is this also give positive niacin test, and it is principally associated with the pulmonary lesion. The Mycobacterium simiae is associated with the pulmonary lesion. And the fourth species is Mycobacterium cancerzae. The Mycobacterium cancerzae cause the chronic pulmonary disease resembling the tuberculosis in old persons with pre-existing lung disease and with impaired immune response. The Mycobacterium cancerzae grows well at 37 degrees Celsius on Algae medium and produces a yellow or orange pigment. And the other pathogen belongs to the photochromogen is Mycobacterium genivens. It grows very slowly and rarely causes diseases or infection in patients with advanced HIV. And it's about the pathogens belongs to the group photochromogens. And next, let's move on to the second one in the Rayon's classification, that is scotochromogens. The scotochromogens can produce pigments like yellow, orange, red, both in dark and light. Okay, the intensity of color of this pigment or the intensity of color may increase on exposure to light. The Mycobacterium scrophylicium belongs to the group the scrotochromogens, and it causes a scrofula or cervical lymphadenitis in children. You can see over here in this diagram the swelling and everything you can see. And the second pathogen belongs to the group scotochromogen is Mycobacterium gordoni, and actually it belongs to this group, but the pathogenic potential of this Mycobacterium gordoni is doubtful. But the Mycobacterium gordoni is a common contaminant of clinical specimens. And the third pathogen belongs to the scotochromogen is Mycobacterium schollgii. And I feel it's like a little bit interesting pathogen because the reason is it behaves as a scotochromogen at 37 degrees Celsius and a photochromogen at 25 degrees Celsius. And it may occasionally cause pulmonary disease and bursitis. And another pathogen belongs to the scotochromogen is Mycobacterium ciliatum, and it is a rare cause of pulmonary infection. It's about the scotochromogen. The third one among four unknown group is non-photochromogens. The non-photochromogen, like the name, it does not produce any pigment. So the Mycobacterium avium intercellular complex belongs to the non-photochromogens and comprises of two related organisms, Mycobacterium avium and Mycobacterium intracellular. The Mycobacterium avium is also known as Bacteriobacillus, which is isolated from the birds. And actually, the Mycobacterium avium and Mycobacterium intracellular are opportunistic pathogens, especially in HIV infected people with low CD4 T cell count. Members of this group can cause the lymphadenitis, respiratory infections, and disseminated disease. Mycobacterium sinopi is found as a common cell, but it rarely causes the pulmonary disease, especially in HIV infected people. Even though the Mycobacterium sinopi is classified as a non-photochromogen, the Mycobacterium sinopi may form the low-colored colony similar to scotochromogens. The species Mycobacterium ulcerans is the agent of Burlai ulcer, which produce the painless ulcers and nodules which become necrotic later. You can see the diagram of that ulcer in the slide. And the Mycobacterium ulcerans can cause the osteomyelitis and the lymph deformities. This bacteria produce an exotoxin called mycolactone toxin, which may be involved in the pathogenesis of the disease. The exotoxin name is mycolactone, and the another species Mycobacterium malmoense, which can cause the pulmonary disease and rarely lymphadenitis. The Mycobacterium paratuberculosis or John's bacillus is associated with the pathogenesis of Crohn's disease, but this link has not been proved yet. So it's about the non-photochromogens. Next, let's move on to the rapid growers. The last one among the Ranyon's classification of non-tuberculous mycobacteria is rapid growers. This group of non-tuberculous mycobacterium grow in culture within 1 week of incubation. So it grow very faster. So the name the rapid growers to this group. The Mycobacterium fortuitum and the Mycobacterium chelonae cause the post-trauma injection abscess and catheter related infections. So the Mycobacterium fortuitum and Mycobacterium chelonae cause the post-trauma injection abscess and catheter related infection. The Mycobacterium abscesses can cause the pulmonary infection. In this table, what you can see is, in this table you can see the disease caused by the various bacteria are given. So the another thing about the rapid growers is the aryl sulfatase test is positive for all rapid growers, and the Mycobacterium fortuitum grows on MacConkey agar in presence of 5% NaCl, whereas the Mycobacterium chelonae fails to grow. It's about the rapid growers. And next, let's move on to the laboratory diagnosis. And for laboratory diagnosis, we should collect the specimen first, right? And we are collecting the specimen according to the site involved in the infection. We can collect the sputum, lymph node aspirate, pus or exudate, and biopsy from skin lesions are the usual specimens. I already told the specimens are collecting according to the site involved in that infection. So after collecting the specimen on microscopy by Zedan staining, The non-tuberculous Mycobacterium appears as red fast bacilli, which needs to be differentiated from the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, because on the microscopy the Mycobacterium tuberculosis also appear like this. So we are doing culture on Algae medium. Several species of non-tuberculous Mycobacteria grow well on Algae medium. However, a few grow very sparsely. The algae medium are incubated in dark and light rooms separately for distinguish between photochromogens and scotochromogens. The various biochemical identification tests are used to differentiate the non-tuberculous Mycobacteria from Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex, and the various biochemical tests involve the niacin test, nitrate test, pyrazinamidase test, catalase test, and all. You can see these tests over here in the table, and when we consider the catalase test, the non-tuberculous Mycobacterium are strongly catalase positive, and there are mainly semi-quantitative catalase test as well as heat stable catalase test. The semi-quantitative catalase test is nothing but when hydrogen peroxide is added to a culture tube containing non-tuberculous Mycobacterium colonies, the bubbles appear and the column of bubbles exceeds 45 millimeter height. In heat stable catalase test, what happens is the non-tuberculous Mycobacterium are capable of producing positive reaction even after heating the culture at 68 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. It's about the biochemical identification. Next, let's move on to the treatment. How we treat the non-tuberculous mycobacterial infections. The non-tuberculous mycobacterial infections are also treated with multi-drug therapy. The Mycobacterium avium intercellare complex and Mycobacterium marinum infections often require multi-drug therapy with macrolides like clarithromycin or azithromycin, and ethambutol, rifamycin like rifampin and rifampicin. And Mycobacterium kansasi infections are also treated with isoniazid, rifampin and ethambutol for prolonged duration. So what we are learned here is for the treatment of non-tuberculous mycobacterial diseases, we are using multi-drug therapy. Okay, it's about today's video. If you like my video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and if you have any doubts, just comment below in the comment box. And thank you for watching.